Josh, if I would like to describe your music, I would probably use these words like rhythm, blues, reggae. But how do you describe your arts?
I think the art is very much like music, in the sense that, it's sort of, when it ends up on the paper, it's kind of like very dramatic. It's kind of like, these are not subtle people. These are not understated people. These are colourful, provocative, these are rock stars, actually. These are rock stars. So yeah, it's very similar, I think.
And where do you find the inspiration? Where it's come from?
It comes from observing, it comes from people that I've met in my life, like people that have, obviously people like David Bowie, he's influenced me, people that I admire musically. But a lot of the, like when I started to draw prints, it really was an accident. I wasn't actually sitting down to draw prints, but as I started to work on the picture, it was like, oh, it looks like Prince. And so then I continued and I turned it into Prince. But it's never a deliberate thing. It's like I'm always trying to evoke the spirit of something. I'm not necessarily interested in sort of doing things that are exact replicas of things that exist. When I do a flower, I always give it a twist. I do people with, as you can see, no faces. I exaggerate their lips. Everything's exaggerated because I suppose the point I'm trying to make is that the most interesting people are often imperfect people and flawed people.
I think that every piece of art has some kind of story behind. Would you tell us your favorite one?
Story. I feel like we live in the age of everything being over-explained. It's like, when you arrive at a premiere and you're dressed and people say, "What are you wearing?" And I'm like, "Can't you see?" I think that it's self-explanatory. This is somebody who's rushing to the fashion show. They want to be in the front row. They have to be in the front row, otherwise their lives are over. So this is a very fashionable person in a frenzy. And the story behind this is it's called front seat fashion show panic. So it's like, I don't know if you've ever been to a fashion show, but there's a lot of panic to be like sitting in the front, to be seen. And my characters are not unassuming. They're very loud. They want to be seen.
You need to prioritize. What is take a first place right now for you, music or art?
I feel like the two things, music, art, fashion, they all kind of go together. That they're very supportive of each other. So, I never feel like I have to choose. I feel like I have the luxury of all these different things to do. I DJ, I do fashion, I make art, I make music, and I feel very, very privileged to just have the chance to do that. And I think creative people are always looking for applause. That's really what we're looking for. Whenever we do anything, we want a reaction. Even in relationships, we want applause, So, nothing I do is ever really understated. It's always kind of bold and provocative and humorous. I think for me, humor is a hugely important thing. The things that make you laugh, things that make you think, things that kind of disturb you a little bit. I think that's kind of where I'm coming from.
When you're creating song, music, or piece of art, do you need a harmony? Do you need to be in harmony with yourself and outside world reality, or you need to be, I don't know, like in chaos, for example?
I think that, nowadays, I don't embrace chaos in the same way that I did when I was 19. When I was 19, I think it was just part of my sort of general demeanor. But as I got older, I feel less and less, drawn towards the need for kind of pointless chaos, I suppose what I do is I put it into my work. If I have any sort of confusion or questions, then I put it into a song or I put it into a piece of art.
If you have a chance, I would say power, for example, to change something in this world, like ultimate power, what would you do?
Well, I think the obvious thing would be, one of the things that really bothers me is, people who are homeless. You know, the idea that somebody's living in the street and it's raining and it's cold, for me that's like the worst thing ever, not to have somewhere to go. So if I had the power to change anything, I would eradicate homelessness, no question. That would be the thing that would make me the most happy. If I could make sure that every single person had somewhere, you know, to go and not to sleep in the streets or be hungry, you know.
Do you have a role model, and should we have one?
I think that there should always be people that inspire you, you know, for different reasons. I think it's really important that when you're in a room full of people, particularly, you never know who the most interesting person is, you know, and you can assume that it's the best dressed person or the most interesting looking person. But sometimes the most interesting person is the most unassuming person in the room. Sometimes the little lady in the corner is the brain surgeon or the, you know, rocket scientist. And I think that we do tend to kind of judge people by the way they look or by status. And I think sometimes you have to look beyond that. So, you know, I'm always really careful when I meet people to breathe and to make sure I know exactly who they are before I make a judgment. Because I think for me, you know, being in the public eye, you grow up with a lot of judgments. You know, it's quite normal for people in the public eye to kind of have people assume things about them. So I try to be really careful and measured when I meet people and just to breathe a bit and to kind of work out who people are before I kind of judge them.
You know, we're in Monaco. In Monaco, everything is super and mega, you know, super yachts, like super cars, mega, super art, yeah, like a billionaires, you know. And what is your relationship with money?
With money?
For example, do you have enough or it's never enough? Does money bring happiness or make you happier?
I think money brings comfort, you know, and I was talking earlier about the idea of homelessness. I think, you know, it would be wonderful if everybody could have it. You know, I think it doesn't make you happier, but it certainly makes things more comfortable. There's no question.
Yeah, and in terms of luxury, what is luxury for you?
Luxury is really like, I mean, listen, my job is the best job in the world. You know, I get to do the thing I love. When I wake up every day, I get to you know, sort of indulge my creativity. And, you know, people say to me, oh, you know, you work hard. I'm like, yeah, I work. It's not hard work. I don't think of what I do as hard work. It can be mentally, you know, difficult, and, you know, sometimes the traveling. But, you know, when I think about people who have to do real jobs, they have to get up and do something that they don't really enjoy, then I can't compare myself to that. So I think for me, I feel very privileged and lucky to do the things I do.
Do you have a dream?
Do I have a dream? I have a dream. I have lots of dreams. Yeah, I think my main dream is really to just continue doing the things I love and to, you know, to really express myself, you know, in a really clear way.
When you're creating art, do you need to be in love?
No, definitely not. I mean, I think that, well, I don't think you need to be in love with the art or in love with another person. You're being quite general. I think there's different types of love. I think I'm in love with my work. I think I'm in love with what I do. You know, the sort of the ability to create things and to see them come to life. I think is just such a, you know, it's such a great thing. And I think there are some people in the world who are like, I call them growers. They're people that like to watch things grow. You know, so when you make music, you're watching something grow. It's like watching a flower grow. And when you make art, you're watching, you know, you're making something grow as well. And I love that. And then there are other people who don't find stimulation in that. You know, some people just doesn't interest them, you know. And I think art is really about, you have to do it. You have to be brave. You have to create it, you have to show it, and you have to be brave. And I think that's the main message, that you have to kind of show up and do the work.
Have you ever had the moment which changed your life?
I've had many. I mean, one of my pictures here, which is called Yamamoto, goes back to when I was 11 and a half years old. I saw David Bowie for the first time as Ziggy Stardust, and that was a really life-changing moment for me because it was a moment when I realized, okay, I want to be a musician. I want to sing, and I want to look like that. That's how I want to look. I want to look that, interesting, and that was a life-changing moment. And then I think there's been so many, but that was a really important one because it was the moment where I decided that I was going to, be true to who I wanted to be.
It's a privilege, yeah, to be who you want to be.
I think it is, yeah. I think it's a luxury, it's a privilege, and I can highly recommend it.
Do you have your favorite picture, favorite art?
For me, they're all kind of important because they're all things that I've created, and I feel very connected to them, and it's very exciting to see them in this space, all together. It's kind of like being at a rock show. I feel like I'm at a great concert.
And it's your first collaboration with Tina Green?
Yes, my first, and hopefully more.
How did you meet each other?
We know each other through my manager, and we've met a few times, and Lady Tina was really instrumental in making me take the plunge. I've been talking for the last few years about doing my first show and just never got it off the ground, and then Lady Tina approached me and said, right, let's do this, and here we are, and it's happening, and it was amazing. We sold our first piece yesterday morning before we were open, so it was really exciting. And, we had an amazing day yesterday, and it's the beginning of something really important for me, so I'm very excited to be here, and it's great to do it in Monaco. It feels really good. There's a great buzz here. Last night was incredible.
You were already many times in Monaco with the concert performances, but now you're in an absolutely different statement. You're different. Do you feel differently?
I feel like I'm always sharing a part of myself. Whenever I do any work, anything that involves creativity, I feel like I'm always kind of exposing myself emotionally, and I enjoy doing it.
If I ask you to describe Monaco in a few words.
Yesterday I said Monaco or bust. I think it's a lot here. It's a very glamorous place, and there's a real energy here, and I like it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.